Hello and welcome to Soups and Sabers. My name is Jordan. With me, as always, is Chris. How are you today, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good. We got a lot to talk about today, so I guess we should probably get into it.
Yeah, I apologize for last week. We were going to talk episode 7, but I suffered some bad back spasms or whatever happened to me here. So I was laid up all weekend. Couldn't really even sit up until Monday. So,
Yeah. Then with
uh,
my schedule, it was like
yeah,
you
at
kind of
that
got to do
point,
it when I
just
can do it. Yeah,
yeah, at that point, just do it all on the one day, which
absolutely.
is what we're doing. So we'll be talking episode 7 of season 2 of Peacemaker, called "Like a Keith in the Night," directed by Alethea Jones, written by James Gunn. And we will also be talking about Full Nelson, which was written and directed by James Gunn. These episodes premiered October 2nd and 9th, 2025 on HBO Max. Um, so I guess we can just kind of start wherever. I don't think we have to go episode by episode. If we just kind of want to
hmm
flow with what we thought of season 2, where we currently stand. It's Friday,
Yeah.
it's the day after uh the finale. But yeah, what was your thoughts on these 2 episodes here?
Well, I thought these two episodes packed a heavy punch. I thought James Gunn had some of the most emotional moments of his writing, and the characters went through hell and then literally hell and back, basically going from one dimension to the other, and it just was a lot to think about. I'm still sitting in it. Like I feel like I'm definitely not super satisfied, but I had a great time this season, and I'm sure that whether it comes in a Peacemaker season 3 or a Checkmate show or whatever, we're going to see Peacemaker again. We're going to see these characters again, and uh, it's just the unknown of that. He's kind of a dour note on it, but I thought in terms of quality, the show is fantastic.
Yeah, last week I think that episode was one of my favorite episodes of the show as a whole. I think one, John Cena's acting in that episode was absolutely incredible. Um, where he, lets out that scream as he sees Keith getting stabbed by his friends, and he's reliving that trauma from when he was 8 years old. And he killed Keith. And what he does after this is, I think a lot of people were really wrong with where they thought this was going to go. Because I didn't really think it would go the way other people were speculating. Like when I was seeing a lot of speculation online, it's like, oh, Peacemaker is going to be really pissed at Adrian. He's going to be really pissed at them. And I'm like, no, he's going to be pissed at himself, right? Like this is, and that's what he does in this episode, right? In episode 8, he is withdrawing.
Yeah,
At first, it's he accepts his prison sentence and he is withdrawing into himself, not letting them visit, not letting not wanting to talk to him. Then when he even gets bailed out, he offers to stay, right? And the cop is like, "Oh, it doesn't really work that way." And when he is uh then released, he goes out and goes somewhere else. He goes to a hotel. He quickly grabs his things and eagerly, and he goes off as kind of this self-exile punishment that he is imposing on himself for being what he calls the angel of death. And I think that is just so much more interesting than what we were maybe going to, or like what we were all thinking we would probably get overall in the whole season. Um, and it leads to a really great moment in this finale when Adebayo, Danielle Brooks, has this phenomenal acting scene as well, right? Where she is telling him, straight up what he means to her. And, she's crying, he's crying, they're all crying. I was crying. I think this one probably the first time I cried at a Peacemaker episode. Um, and I think one thing that might be getting lost in some of the knee jerk reactions to this episode, I will say, is how good this emotional stuff works.
Hmm.
And I think it works well for a season 2 because you've had the time to build those relationships over season 1 and this season, as well as the implied time that takes place between the 2 seasons. So I, I don't know. I really loved this episode. I don't have like too many complaints because I feel like last week wrapped up the QUC stuff for the all like Earth X. That stuff was wrapped up last week. And so much so that I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, then they'll go through the doors and have to fight Argus. But then he gives himself up. And it made me speculate this whole week of like, okay, what is this episode coming up? What is in the finale? Right. And
Hmm.
I think that left a lot of runway. What I think that also did was maybe um it made I think it made some people think nothing happened because it wasn't as action packed. This was a much more emotional based episode for our characters. And Chris, it really worked for me, but also
Yeah.
getting the answer to what happened on
On the boat.
the boat,
Yeah.
like that was
Yeah.
something set up in episode 1, and we all thought, "Oh, they probably had like a one night stand." And it was actually something so much more innocent and pure where they actually connect it at a level
Yep.
and where, Harcourt was falling for him and they have
Yeah.
this kiss and that's all it was. And I really like that being the answer instead of some just like, "Oh, we had a one night stand." It was, "No, we connect it at a level
Yeah.
intimately." And it scared her enough to run off. She's actually kind of doing the same thing Peacemaker is, where she is withdrawing and saying um
Yeah.
she's not good enough
It
for this as
makes
well.
it makes so much more sense for her character going out to the bars and fighting now than it did in the beginning of the season. Because in the beginning of the season, it was just kind of a professional loss, and it was presented as she can't get a job and she doesn't know what to do. And so I was like, yeah, but she's stronger than this. She can rebound from this. This emotional layer really informs the rest of her behavior this season. But so I really liked how they brought that back. And I love the innocent moment. I think my favorite moment of the entire season might be Peacemaker doing his little dance when um, she said that it meant something. And
Yes, yeah.
I think we're all kind of chasing moments like that in life. But that was just like such an awesome moment. And the way they kept going back to the boat scene all season and paying that off, stuff did happen. It was a very character focused episode. I would even say the action in terms of Flag and Sasha was character driven. Flag is becoming Lex's puppet. Lex's influence is gaining control. He has an exorbitant budget all of a sudden to do whatever the hell he wants, and there is a nefarious jailing system going on with the doors in the QEC. So, like QEC, yeah. So it's like it was very character developed even there, and then you had Sasha Bordeaux's character completely turning on Flag. You had a lot going on. You had a lot happening, but it wasn't violent. It wasn't over the top action. But you got so much of that the episode before. Like Vigilante jumps through the window and kills his dad as he's
Mhm.
basically stating that, wait a second, there's another layer to this blue dragon thing or blue devil thing. And it's like, what the heck is going on? And you start to think, oh God, no. And then Keith and Chris basically staring at each other, one with a disheveled face, one with a heart that's just as disheveled. It just I don't know how you say that stuff didn't happen because the emotional fallout was still such a powerful part. The only thing I would say is that I do think that there could have been an extra episode to bridge these two episodes, because there had to be such an emotional fallout for Peacemaker, what happened there. And I do think it got brushed over a little bit. I would have liked to see, like, if Keith's alive, is he angry, stuff like that. But I I don't think it. I think a ninth episode could have solved a lot of problems, but I don't think, and I don't think it was a great finale. I don't think it was a great season finale. I think it was a good episode. If this was, if
it's an what I would say, this is like an epilogue to last week, and I think
mhm.
it almost feels like the new era, right? Like almost like a season premiere type of thing where you're
Yeah,
like, okay, so I get those type of complaints, I guess, but like,
if this was an episode one of season three, no one would have a problem right
but for me, it's like, and for some reason, people really have. We've kind of gone backwards in the sense of how people react to cliffhangers now. I'm not sure what it is, but people get really upset about cliffhangers for some reason. And I look, I would probably understand more if this was a post-credit scene where he gets sent to salvation, because Marvel recent post-credit scenes have not been paying off. They've been kind of in limbo. And I could see people being like, well, is this ever going to get followed up on? But we know with how James Gunn sets this stuff up, this will be followed up on. It's not like this will never, ever be continued. Um, the reason why I think it wouldn't be a season 3 of Peacemaker and why it would be maybe something like a checkmate is because Peacemaker's on salvation right now. So, like, you can't have Peacemaker season 3 and it just not feature him, right? Like,
now. Right.
so I would assume that it would be following Checkmate looking for
Mhm.
Chris, or you know, uh, doing stuff like that to try to get him back from salvation instead of a standard season 3 where you would have to kind of cut back and forth, and then like if
Right.
there's really nothing else over there right now.
And there's nothing worse than that kind of a dynamic on a TV show. We saw this twice in the Arrowverse. The first thing that comes to my mind was Iris is stuck in the mirror, and you have that dramatic
That was a
irony, and it's
long,
horrible.
yeah,
And then the other example of that is, God, it just literally slipped my mind. Um, but it's two. I was thinking two times in the Arrowverse where characters. I guess when Barry went to jail, and like so
yeah,
you
similar to
went from,
this, yeah,
so like so like you're cutting back and forth between the jail to like the thing, and it's just like it's kind of an annoying trope. They did it in Arrow too, so
yeah. I mean, it's something that like those longer form shows need to do. But like, I was actually very happy that he was bailed out pretty quickly.
yeah.
Um, it was just like the question of when they're saying, "Oh, we're going to do something to get back at Flag and Argus," that I was like, "We only got like 5 minutes left. What is that going to be?" So for some people that didn't work because they wanted some action scene against Argus. I actually really like that Amanda Waller's daughter
Mhm.
has created checkmate, but for good. Um,
It,
I
and
know
you know
there'll
what,
be
you
the
get to
people
play.
out there. There'll be the people out there that'll say it's not a one-to-one adaptation, so they don't like this. But I, for this type of stuff, I don't care. Like
Look,
for checkmate, I don't care.
Smallville didn't do a one-to-one adaptation with it.
No, yeah,
It's really whatever the you want it to be. It serves basically the same purpose as any checkmate you've ever heard. I mean, like it's not like they're adopting puppies at checkmate. So you have Langston Flurry, you have the Peacemaker, the 11th Street Kids. I mean, it's not like you have a bunch of regular people. You're gonna get DC Comics checkmate kind of stuff. I'm excited about it because I think it gives possibilities for them to matter in projects other than Peacemaker. And James Gunn says we will see these guys pop up in
yeah,
things. Man of Tomorrow, you know, if you told me that Peacemaker shows up in Man of Tomorrow because Man of Tomorrow, um, they're dealing with alternate dimensions, and then maybe that's how Chris ends up getting out. I wouldn't be shocked if that took place in Man of Tomorrow as like a 5-minute thing.
That it really makes me wonder what Man of Tomorrow is. Because okay, look, let's talk about it. Let's theorize. Because people have, when he showed the picture of the script, it had a picture with it was a human with like the inside. You see the brain, you see all the muscles and stuff. And people are like Brainiac, and of course
Yeah.
that has been everybody's guess for anything anyway, right?
Yep.
Since any time a Superman movie is announced, people say Brainiac. It's got to be
Yeah.
Brainiac, and it never is. It's always Lex or somebody else.
Yeah.
So if it's not Brainiac, people are going to flip and they're going to think that he was teasing it, but it could literally be anything. It could literally be anything right now. But
when you look at the picture of the script, it could be like a Lex Luthor thing, a brain thing.
yeah,
Like
he's smart. They mentioned a few times how he is the smartest man in the world in this episode.
And I think it's very interesting that it can be anything, and you're setting so much up with Lex. All we know about Man of Tomorrow, if we really want to just focus on the realities and not like what we're like making it in our head, we know that Superman and Lex Luthor are the main players of the movie. We know that
they're forced to team up for some reason.
They're forced to team up for a power that's greater than they can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that James Gunn is writing and directing it. That is literally the end of what we know. So the fact of the matter is, James Gunn has said that Peacemaker ties into Man of Tomorrow, and I have to believe the Lex Luthor influence with Flag is the extent of that, and the dimensions.
Yes.
The dimensions give you so many different possibilities of what that sentence Peacemaker leads into this could mean. It could be anything, any door. It could be that space thing. Maybe that's how Brainiac comes in through that little space portal. Could be absolutely anything. What we have to do. What we have to do is separate what we know and what we are conjuring up in our minds.
That just made me laugh because I totally forgot when you mentioned the black hole. I totally forgot that they get a note from Lex, okay, about the black hole image for that universe. And it's before they reveal what this is for. And Lex says, looks promising. So thinking that Lex was thinking of throwing these people into the black hole universe.
Yeah.
I totally did not think about that till now.
And look,
like, oh, okay, that's what he...
Isn't that what Lex Luthor would do? I don't care. Throw him in the black hole.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it makes sense.
It's like, you eliminate the problem. Why are we still talking?
I don't know if so much like the other alternate dimensions will play a big role in it. I think more of, I don't even know how much salvation will play and role into it, except for maybe if they both get stuck there, Lex and Superman, or if it doesn't even take place in that, and it's like at the end of the movie, whoever they capture, they put in the salvation, and we kind of keep building up to that for the first couple things, to where they can kind of do this arc of all the villains on salvation, battling it out, or
salvation. That whole arc and everything is kind of in a similar space that Marvel has right now with the Void, where it can be multiple purposes for their story, whatever the way they want to go with it. It can serve a purpose for later, and it doesn't have to be the direct one from the comic books, which we've noticed with Checkmate. Like you said, it's not a one-to-one adaptation, so it could be absolutely anything. What I would say is that I think we're going to notice that something from this season mattered that we're not thinking about right now later, because James Gunn's kind of the master of that.
And here's the thing too, this was set up so well. I know people will say it's a little rushed for Rick Flag Sr. I think maybe that's something that I could agree to, but I do think, I had my friend Jack text me. He was like, "Man, I hate Rick Flag now," and I'm like, I don't. I still like Rick Flag.
I don't hate Flag at all.
I get it from his point of view. Like, I get it.
He's fueled by rage that he has a chance to severely destroy the life of the man who killed his son. That is
Exactly.
all he's cared about. But look, he's been very consistent in every show he's been in. He's been consistent. In Creature Commandos, all he cared was doing the princess, and
Well,
in
and
this,
also,
all he cared about was Peacemaker.
right, but even in the Creature Commandos, this tracks, he talks to Princess about his son,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
this, how the circumstances of his death and stuff. So obviously it sets up that if he is going to he's going to look into it. But
He's
also
never been over it. He's never gotten over it.
one thing
He
that
hasn't had
tracks
time.
one thing that tracks Chris is that he is manipulated pretty easily in all of the projects he's in,
Oh, he's not
because
smart.
he gets manipulated by the princess.
Oh,
He
he
gets
does very
manipulated
badly.
by Waller. He gets manipulated by Lex Luthor, right? Like, he is easily manipulated. He thinks he's smarter than these people, and he's
Hell,
not.
Sasha Bordeaux manipulated him. If we really want to count manipulations, I mean, she there was a time when like she had influence over him that was like insane, and Economos has kind of had influence over him here or there. Like he's making decisions based off what Economos is saying sometimes. Like he is not a strong-minded creature. He just isn't. That's
Yeah,
okay. That's the character. He is consistently, but you know what? He is consistently who he is. I don't think he's inconsistent.
right, right.
He's very into rage. And you know what the thing is, in every situation, he's found a way to be on top of it all, whether he was right or not. He's
And
found a way.
I think that won't last. Like, I do
Oh,
think Lex would get
Lex
the
is
upper
gonna,
hand at
yeah, he's
some
gonna be
point
Lex's
here.
sacrificial lamb. So
Yes.
basically, when this work relationship does not work with for Lex, flag is out. It's very much like Ron and I were saying on the message. Ron's like, man, he is like Elon Musking this thing, Lex Luthor. And I was like, yeah, and he's got his puppet and it's flag. So,
And he can drive the narrative. So here's the
yep.
thing, too, right? Like, this is all Lex's idea based off of his original tech that so here's the thing, too. They are doing exactly what Lex did, having a prison inside
Mm-hmm.
this space, but
Yep.
instead it is a stable space and without cages where they can just run free on this planet where they don't know what's going to happen, but they can never get out. You
It
know,
makes you think of that
the
line
door
Economos said.
changes.
Yeah, it makes you think about that line Economos said. When have we ever done anything for the good of the country? And
Right.
it was, I think, one of the biggest lines in there. It's like I think Harcourt kind of thought, oh God, a lot of this has been a line. Economist is like, this has been a job the whole time. This has
Right.
not
Right.
been work. So yeah, I think the dark uh, realities of government are very alive in the DCU.
Well, one thing I think is interesting too is like with this being Lex's idea, if he, let's say, wants to run for office, okay, if he is very uh so he's good at messaging, he can get on the
Mm-hmm.
TV, right?
Right.
Here's the thing.
If he can get out of jail,
If he can,
the 270 felonies could be the 270 count could be the 34 felonies. It's the same difference.
yeah, but
Sorry.
the main thing is with it, right, is
Mm-hmm.
if this is popular, let's say Salvation becomes news out there. If this is popular because of the way people were turning on Superman, with the way people were turning on the metahumans anyway,
Mm-hmm.
this could be popular enough where he can say this was my idea and kind of negotiate his release, or even, run for office based off of that. Hey, you guys really like that Salvation idea? I came up with that. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
get rid of all the metahumans if I'm elected president. Like,
Look
we're
what
going
I
to,
can do in prison. I can do all
right.
this from prison.
Right. So, but also you could say that too. Maybe he doesn't even need to become president because he's
Yep.
powerful right now as it is. Right. So there
Yep.
is that wrinkle for Lex as well. But, um, you know, like you said, Flag might be the sacrificial lamb at some point where something happens. He becomes like Waller and he's tossed to the wolves, and it leaves an opening for him to put Otis as head of Argus or
I was
something.
just thinking that.
And he is on his way to getting out of prison or something. So it leaves a lot that can still happen here, and I think it is very exciting to figure out where we're going to. One thing James Gunn said going into the season, when he was talking about these last 3 episodes, is that nobody really knows where we're going with this, and because people were putting together like, oh, this is going to lead to New Frontier, oh, this is going to lead to Kingdom Come. Nobody had Salvation Run on
Nope.
there, and I think that's very exciting because it shows that he's not just pulling from stuff that is universally praised, big comic events. This run isn't very well regarded, but you can take the idea of it. It's not a full adaptation. He's already said that. It's going to be the idea of salvation and the prisoners on that planet, but it's not going to be like the Joker versus Lex stuff that the comic covers. It's not going to be that kind of stuff. But one thing that's very well known about this planet too is that it's like it has a tie to dark side and stuff too. So an Apocalypse. We don't know if that's where he is planning to go with it, but that is something that happened in the comics. So
there was a lot of people who thought the QUC was a version of a mother box at one point. So,
and that was the boom tube, right? There was that theory out there.
So
which could be, I mean, I guess you could do it that way. Sidney Happerson says that this tech is not anything known terrestrially, so we do know who, and Gunn says he knows who created it. So I do think that there is story there, whether it is a Brainiac invention, an Apocalypse, invention from that planet, or
it could be either or
could be anything,
none of the above,
right? Yeah, or it could be some obscure character that that we didn't see coming. But I think that's one thing I really enjoy about it. For people who want to read this, I haven't read it yet. I'm going to read the run this weekend, hopefully. But it's a 2007 run to 2008. But it was a mini series called Salvation Run. It's put together into a trade paperback called JLA Salvation Run. But it was written by Bill Willingham for the first few issues, and then Lila Sturges. Another fun fact with this is that this was pitched by George R.R. Martin.
Whoa.
He's the one that came up with the idea of Salvation Run. He didn't write it, but he came up with the idea and pitched it to them. That's kind of crazy.
That is nuts. It's a good thing he didn't write it because it would have taken 10 years.
It would have taken a long time. We'd never gotten issue 7 or 6.
Oh, goodness.
But no, I know we haven't spent too much time on the episode itself so far, but I think this is just fun theorizing, thoughts.
Absolutely. The number one thing I was left with was a feeling of unresolved issues. Like I felt like taking Peacemaker out of the equation really unwrapped all the bows you tie. And
it looked like we were heading towards a very happy ending.
And I would have been okay with that.
I would have too. Apparently, I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but apparently he said Safran was really pitching for a cliffhanger. So I'm guessing he convinced Gunn to put in the cliffhanger.
I got to be honest with you. I don't think it had I think it had the opposite effect they wanted in terms of how it's been received.
Yeah, you mean like where people are with the
I think people. I think it just pissed off your audience. I don't think we've talked about the ratings, but the ratings haven't been what they were for season 1, and
they've been better from what they've said.
Okay, maybe I'm listening to the wrong people on Twitter. I have to mute more Snyder bots, maybe. But
No, yeah. From what I saw before, is that season 2 was doing better. I'll see if I
okay.
can find the backup for that.
Yeah, we'll look into that. But yeah, I think they were trying to keep you on the hook a little bit, and I think the story could have just been tied up, and then Chris being taken out like that could have been part of the next story. But I mean, if you're
So
not planning on a season 3, like immediately, or maybe that's what that is.
it says a month ago it was at a 22% viewership growth. Um, what I think some people are sharing was Samba TV, who's a uh third party thing that tracks US smart TVs, but not every single type of smart TV. I forget which ones they don't cover. It says that it was ranked 16th on September 19th, but I mean, uh, I don't know. I don't know what that means. But the thing that I would say, um, is Samba TV doesn't always have the correct amount on that, but also, um, everything we see when we go onto HBO Max is that number one movie is Superman, that number one show is
Yeah,
Peacemaker. And I think that's all they really care about. So I think they're excited about it. And like you said, if they're not doing a season 3 right now, then it doesn't really matter. It's whatever.
yeah. I mean, I'll get over my qualms with the finale. I I enjoyed the season, and I think the quality of the show has been far and above what I think anyone expected, even after season 1. The acting of John Cena in this season,
It's incredible.
it blows my mind, because season 1 wasn't even that good. Like, it was not bad, but like, it was. This was like, yeah, he could win awards for this kind of acting.
I totally forget that he is like a wrestler when I'm watching
Yeah.
this season. Like
Mhm.
season 1, I'd be like, in Suicide Squad, I'd be like, man, he's really good for a wrestler.
Mhm.
But this season, he's just been outstanding as an actor.
I also think age is helping him a lot. I think
It's
he
the
looks a
experience of getting more roles too. Like
right.
he's been
Yeah.
doing a lot of stuff.
First off, he's experienced, but I think he looks a little less like a cocky young wrestler. And
Mhm.
because he had a very defined character. Not that I'm into wrestling, but like, he was marketed a certain way, and now my perception of him has completely, like, twisted on what it was. So there's something to that. I think age has kind of helped him more define him as an actor.
Going back to Salvation real quick, I totally forgot to mention this when I was saying how it was built up earlier in the season. Is we do see that news report in, I think, episode 2 or 3, of them, from the guy from Superman who was interviewing Peacemaker on that show. Remember, he was, I think it was that show, was mentioning um, the breakouts at Arkham and Belle Reve. And that gets brought up again in this episode when the Secretary of Defense is kind of like, "Oh, so you've quickly turned around on this," and Flag says Arkham and Belle Reve can't hold these guys anymore. And I think also what I saw on that screenshot or something is that it was kind of like a black eye for Argus, that Belle Reve and Arkham was kind of having these issues. So it does seem like that may have been the first hurdle he was kind of overcoming coming into this role. And his
Hmm.
first thought is, if I'm going to keep this role, I got to get this under control. And his thought process is this: I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And he can talk himself into it a bit more as being a little bit more humane by not
I'll,
having cages. And it's a nice, lush paradise. But, I don't think he actually cares about that either.
no, it's kind of like cage free eggs. You if you sell it hard enough, you can make it sound like it means something. But um, but
These eggs were never caged.
but I have I have the mindset of him in the Superman movie of really being contemplative about how the metas kind of rule the world now. So it's you know it is consistent. Like he's not an inconsistent character. We've talked about it. It's different,
Yeah, yeah.
different shows, different projects. But Lex Luthor was even different in Peacemaker than he was in Superman. I mean, he might have been just as much of a vile asshole in both projects. But I mean, the language he used in Peacemaker was dramatically different than anything you're going to see in Superman or Man of Tomorrow.
What I liked about that, though, we didn't talk about it then, I guess, but it didn't ring untrue for the character in the sense of like, I don't watch Superman and
Right.
think, oh, he's censoring himself here. But and I also don't watch this show and think, oh, Lex is only saying this because it's Peacemaker. I'm thinking like it's just that flip of
Yeah.
we can say it over here, and he would say it in this circumstance of talking about his prison experience. You know, because there's certain things where you're talking about, like, all right, if we're bringing Deadpool into the Doomsday, part of that will ring untrue because he
Right.
cannot be as vile as he is, as vulgar as he is,
Right.
right? That didn't feel that way. Like I've watched Superman since his appearance in this show,
Mhm.
and it still feels like the same guy.
Yeah,
It's
it
just like
does.
the
I would
the
say
uh, the language is different.
that in Superman, his job is to sell people on his brilliance, and you're not going to go
Mm-hmm.
down to that level when you have to appear to your employees that you are a godlike figure, that you are the boss, that you are the smartest person on the planet, and the smartest person on the planet doesn't waste time cussing out idiots.
Right,
Um,
right.
he has to be at this level. You know, he's his enemy is Newton and Galileo and Superman. So um, that's the difference there. But I really think with Lex Luthor, everything is on the table. Anything that James Gunn wants to do with Lex Luthor is on the table, which is insane considering he has 272 years to serve.
Not for long. He's gonna make a deal. He's gonna make a deal.
He's
Um,
going to make a billion deals. That man's going to make so many deals. They're going to. You know the problem with this? It was like it almost got to the point where you're thinking if Argus had a computer glitch for like a day, they'd be like, Lex, what can we do about this? Well, what can you do for me?
yeah, yeah.
The air conditioning stopped working at Argus. Call Lex.
And one thing I think, I've seen some people say, Bordeaux and Fleury's move to the checkmate is a little quick, but I think that's been set up as well. We've talked about Fleury
Mm-hmm.
when Chris got caught and how he gave Economos like the good job on that, like going by the book
Yeah,
on that.
he
And
definitely
then
wasn't a flag guy.
when you see Fleury and Sasha Bordeaux's reaction to these people
Mm-hmm.
dying in the QUC and they see how Rick doesn't care anymore, they
Yep.
think he won't care if I die. Then you move, you change jobs. If your
Right.
boss won't care that you die and he's doing coke with the Lex Luthor
Yeah.
friends, then it's time to move jobs.
Well, what annoys me about this is that I wish this would happen at all in reality. When a certain person in
Yes,
power
yeah,
is insane to the point where nothing makes sense and you can't stomach it, that you would have a reaction and change course. Oh
yeah.
my goodness, can we get that in reality in any form it can take? I'm
And
sorry. Off my
I
soapbox.
and I like that like Bordeaux approaches hardcore and like is kind of feeling her out like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm not really liking where we're going here. Can we do something about this. And
And
then
they were never enemies. They were against
they had
each
that
other
one fight,
in
right? When she was
yeah.
about to kill
Mhm. It was a
Peacemaker, that she
context
jumped
thing.
in. Yes.
They were enemies of context. They were not mortal enemies. There's a
Right,
big
right.
difference. I actually think that probably makes her, knowing what panned out, probably makes Sasha respect Harcourt more because she went to an extreme to
Yes.
do what she had to do.
To actually
Uh,
stand up for the person she cares
Believed it.
for instead
Oh
of
yeah,
following orders like Flag is doing or like these other people are
because
doing.
Flag,
So yeah,
because if you notice, Harcourt was put in between a rock and a hard place, and she still did what she
was
thought was
right.
right and
Yeah.
what she wanted to do. And I think that strength of character is pretty impressive because she was put in a situation where she was almost forced to do the wrong thing, and she somehow found a way out of it. I
Yeah.
don't know many characters that can do that in almost anything. So,
Yeah. Um uh, that was I really enjoyed that. And I know one of the complaints I will kind of like I understand from people is maybe too much of the yacht uh cruise line performances, but they really worked for me. They
oh
had you have the one where, like we talked about, it
yeah,
was what actually happened on the boat. And
yeah,
music is not just a big part of the show. It is a big part of Chris's life. It is not it was his escape from his Nazi dad. Him
yeah,
and his brother bonded over these type of rock songs um before his death, and it's kind of the
yeah.
thing that has kept him. So uh, that worked for me. And then I'm a sucker for when the theme song comes back around. So
And
in
it did it
season one,
both seasons.
yeah, season one
Perfect.
finale did a great
Mhm.
version of it. This
It,
one did a cool version of it, and it shows them like
yeah,
happy and like actually
yeah.
like she was cuddling with him as they're like
If
rocking. So it
this
was great.
if the show is good at anything, it's re-putting the theme song into the show and doing a slow walk. I mean, if they got
Yes. Yeah.
anything, like if you were going to come up with a parody of a Peacemaker show, like if it was like an SNL
Family Guy
parody
doing
of,
a cutaway or something. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That would be what you would make fun of. It would be the there is always in slow walk.
Yes.
That's exactly what you would do. But I had to cut out so we didn't get a copyright infringement. But I can't stop singing that damn song, by the way. Which is funny because now I've heard my mom having the same problem. It's hilarious. But James Gunn infiltrates our ears and doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Um, oh, and that song, "Keep Fucking My Heart in the Butt" or something like that. That was such a good montage. Like in the
Yeah.
middle of the episode, I was like, "How long are they going to pull out this montage? Is this going to go the whole song?"
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. I enjoyed it. Like I yelled "Big Belly Burger" the second the
Big
thing
Belly
started.
Burger was great. I
I
didn't think of it as being like a sit down place. That was
I always
interesting.
I always thought of it more. Well, in the
Like a Burger
Arrowverse,
King.
it was always like a fast food, like,
Yeah. Like a
or
Burger
they
King.
to go. I always thought a belly burger like Five Guys.
Okay. I can see
So
that.
because I've always
This is
like
a little bit more like Red Robin in this one,
it.
huh?
That's exactly what it was with flights of shots, and you're like, okay, and
I
you
like that.
know,
I would eat at that Big Belly Burger. That
oh,
looks nice.
actually, I love the scene where he stops Harcourt from fighting the big
Yes.
fat guy, and Peacemaker's like, dude, I was protecting him from you,
Yeah, I'm not
and then,
protecting you because she's like thinking it's this damsel in distress type thing,
uh-huh,
right?
right, and she's like, seriously, are you kidding me? And it's like, and he's like, you're gonna let this go? This is a miracle. And I love that, like, they could play banter like that. I
Yeah.
thought it actually showed that there was something there.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and
yeah.
what got me with that too is my mom taught me to be proud of these freckles or whatever.
Uh-huh. I like when she's like making the little water picture with the droplets on the table, and she's making fun of his square face.
Yes, yeah.
It's like you're just a square face with two droplets. It's like it's a pretty good insult for Chris Smith.
Oh, something I want to bring up from last week too is
Mhm.
I was so happy to see Larry Fitzgibbon as the Earth 2 cop, like the Earth X cop.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
that surprised me when he opened the door and it was Fitzgibbon. I was
Uh,
like, yes,
that
like
was so good.
he was such
Yeah,
a great actor in the first one. So to see him again, that was a nice little touch.
that was so incredibly good. I thought that that whole scene where Vigilante hops in the window and like the police are outside, that was as good of like dramatic action as I've seen because the emotions felt more heavy than the action, and the action was quite intense. Like it was just incredibly well done. I think the quality of the show was a 10 the whole way. I think the
Yeah.
writing was fantastic. We didn't talk about the imp world or like the little like
Yeah, the things that ate
yeah,
Pony Boy's
they're like little
face
golems. They're like little colorful like munchkin goblin golems. They're like what the
in
are these?
Candyland. It looks
Dude,
like
it was
Candyland.
yeah. It's like it looks so like and it's got like this pink magenta like thing. And I actually thought about that planet on Legends of Tomorrow where it's the T-Mobile color all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh
So we were always speculating in the chat and stuff like, oh, who would die from this? I was right. None of the 11th Street kids would die. Somebody like a Flurry. So I think I
yeah.
kind of nailed that with Pony Boy dying. And one thing that got me too is as they're going through this, and Harcourt's like titties, pull us back in. Like she actually used that name and not like her actual name. Like
Yeah. Well, she might not know her name. Let's be honest.
true,
But
true.
um, I think she's just titties now. It's like you know you have a workplace where like I know my buddy Andy. He works at a Jiffy Lube and they call him Big Country.
Okay.
I'm sure some people don't even know his name is Andy.
Yeah, I
Just
used to
what's
be
up
called
country?
at the grocery store I worked at. They used to call me J Town.
Why?
I don't know. Somebody did it and it stuck, and everybody would just call me J Town. So it was a nice
What's
nickname,
up,
actually.
J-Dub?
I like that. Yeah, it
It's
sounded
not
great.
bad, no.
Yeah, it's
It's
good.
uh it's
I
better
never
than
thought it.
Ginger Cool. It's better
Ginger
than
Cool's
Ginger Cool.
good. Ginger
It's
Cool's good.
Ginger Cool could be worse. Ginger Cool could be worse.
It could be
Um,
dye beard, and that's not good.
well, that one's just that one is dramatic.
um, but yeah, so that was good. You know what's one thing that made me laugh is when I
Hmm.
got all right. So one of the hot topics of the last few episodes have been runtime, right?
Yeah,
And this just made me laugh because people were like, "Oh, this got to be a long episode," and it was. It was 57 minutes. Um, but a lot of the people that were complaining about the runtime were then saying about how this episode had too many montages and
yeah.
musical numbers, and I was like, "Well, you guys want it longer. They made it
Uh,
longer."
well, look, the montages were the best part of the episode. I don't know what to tell you.
For me,
If you,
my whole point with that is just you can never base anything off of the runtime. You just
mhm,
can't. Movies, we see that all the time in movies where they're
yeah,
like, it should have been 2.5 hours. And I'm like, but you don't even know what those other like
30
20
minutes
minutes
would
would
have
be,
been.
other 30
Yeah,
minutes would be.
yeah.
So
It might have not been more of what you wanted. It could have been more of what you didn't.
exactly. And that's kind of what this episode may have been for some
Yeah.
people where they're like, oh, it's not like it's 35 minutes. This should be longer. And then he makes it longer and they're like, well, not like that. So I thought that was funny. It made me
Honestly,
laugh.
I I I'm a little annoyed because I have one big question that isn't important to the story at all.
What
But
is it?
it keep how the heck did Adrian get pallets of money and drugs into his basement without like a dock door or like
Oh, good
his mom
question.
noticing? Because there is no structure of that house that would support that. He can't get it down that hallway to that door.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
There it is.
like it bugged me in NCIS when it's like, how did Gibbs get the boat out of the basement? But like they at least answered that at some point. Like I
Did they
hope they
really?
get.
I've never seen that. What are you talking about with the boat in the
He
basement?
just in NCIS where he builds the boat in the basement,
I've
and
never
then
seen him
all the
build the boat. I've watched NCIS, but I don't think I've seen
it
him
was
build the
like
boat.
season 1,
Okay.
and then they're like, "How'd you get the boat out?" He's like, "I just rebuilt the wall."
He took down the whole wall and then rebuilt it?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's what Adrian did.
I guess, but but it's like a basement, so it'd be like underground.
Well,
I'm a little
not all
confused.
the time. Like I don't like obviously like there are some basements where it is underground, but then when you get to the other side, it's like your house is built a little bit on a
Yeah,
hill or they
I
dig
don't know.
out. So there's
It,
usually a basement door
yeah,
down there. Now he doesn't
right,
have that, but maybe
right.
he had to close it up after he put
Again,
everything in there.
it's not an important detail, but it's driving me crazy.
Well, there you go. The gun jammed. They never figured out how
I don't want to
that
say the
stuff
gun
got in
jammed.
there.
I'm not upset to that level, but I do really like. Honestly, if I get one question, like I'm at a Comic-Con, I get one question, I might waste it on this.
That's what you would waste it on.
And it wouldn't even be. It would just be compulsory. It would just like
You know
I would
what?
just
That's
be.
actually a good question to waste it on because if you
Yeah,
ask something like, "What are we
everyone's gonna
gonna
ask the same
see?
question.
What are we gonna see in Mana tomorrow?" He'd be like, "Wait and find out." Like he's not gonna
Right.
tell you,
Right.
obviously. Like
That's actually kind of the kind of question you get at Comic Con anyway, because you have to ask them something they can answer.
right.
And I don't think there's an answer to this question because it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah, if I was James Gunn, I would just make up something on the spot of like,
And he
"Oh,
probably would.
there
And
was a garage door that worked. Now it doesn't work, so he has to enter through the house."
uh-huh. It's driving me nuts, but okay, we'll move on. Yeah.
But yeah, our main core people and Rip Jagger. I saw people kind of confused on why he would join them, but I think that was spelled out pretty good last week when he had this great scene with Adebayo.
Oh, he's playing
And
Scrabble
and when he
or
vouches
Scrabble.
for them, right?
Yep.
When Peacemaker lies and says, and is wanting to just kind of sacrifice himself, Flag looks to Jagger and says, "Is that how you see it too?" And he says, "Yep."
Yep.
And he took their side there. So obviously, I think that makes sense too. I don't really have an issue with any of these three characters making the jump to checkmate. So I thought that was good.
Yeah. I think it worked. Totally.
Checkmate, by the way, obviously a comic organization. This was first appeared in 1988, created by Paul Kupperberg and Steve Irwin. So, and in the comics, usually Amanda Waller creates it, but it's her daughter, Leota Adebayo, who creates it in this DCU.
Yeah, I love it when Adrian's like, "Who the fuck is Lee?"
Yeah.
It's like we call her Ads or Adebayo, Mom. God damn, you're so stupid. And it's just like, damn, Adrian, what the
Yeah, what is his problem with his mom? Do we know?
Like his mom is like catatomically
so
nice. Like she's like catatonically nice. It's like she's been beaten into just being this, okay, honey.
Yeah.
I feel
She
so
doesn't
bad for his
seem to
mom.
care.
Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like she's just like, all right, you're Adrian, you'll be okay. I don't get it. It drives me crazy though. Like, I mean, I I can like be mad at like my parents. I don't know like that.
No, never like that.
Even
No.
like even like in my like most bad moments, I don't think I go to that extreme.
No. And
To like anybody, actually, to be honest with you. Like that's just gross.
What I wanted to bring up here is how much Adebayo is her mother's daughter.
Oh yeah,
Right, now she uses it for good here, but she manipulates Adrian pretty darn well about, I guess I'm just a better
reverse
friend
psychology. Yep.
than you are because I will take the blood curse. Like I will do that for Peacemaker, and it makes him be like, okay, no, you're not a better friend than him because she knows what his weakness is, and his weakness is his friendship
insecurity with
Chris.
his friendship with yep.
So she plays him just like she did when she sent him in there to kill his dad in the prison back in season 1, but this time she uses it for good,
Right.
right? And it's to bail him out, and then it's they use it to create this checkmate organization.
Speaking of the jail and the prison, season 1 might be his best scene in the whole show. But
Oh yeah, when he's
he's like,
cursing him
and
out and
what's
stuff.
he's like talking to these neo Nazis. He's like, and what's your favorite contribution of black people to music?
Yes,
And
yes.
and they're just like, what?
Yeah, man. Anything else about this episode or last week's episode?
I don't know. I feel like we've kind of been all over the place, but we've kind of
Yeah.
hit it all.
Well, that's what happens when we do it the day after. I
Yeah,
didn't have any time for
yeah.
notes or anything, so I just kind of
I didn't watch
we're
it
winging it.
again. I didn't.
Me
Yeah, I
neither.
didn't
Yeah,
watch it again. A lot of times I listen to the Peacemaker podcast and do
I didn't get a
that.
chance to do that today.
I've been inconsistent with that. There have been weeks I have, and there were weeks I haven't. And I feel like the podcast goes better when I have it because it's not in my head when like we're doing the episode. But I I think um, I think the DCU is really awesome, and we have so many characters already in the DCU, and it feels fresh. And um, honestly, just in terms of superhero content, because we got Avengers Doomsday coming up, we got all this stuff, brand new day. It's just it's a good time to be a fan of things.
Yeah,
And like if you're bitching on the internet about the show, um, and I'm not talking about like if you're critiquing it or say you didn't like things, because you notice we didn't like some of the things, but like if you're like saying, "Oh, this sucks," the gun jam, god damn it, shut up. We're done with you. I'm having fun, man. Just having fun. You can dislike it, but come on, man. Let's have some fun because this is back to like the peak MCU feeling for me in terms of superhero genre.
yeah. I've seen the sentiment out there that hey, next year we don't have any James Gunn projects, so maybe that's going to be something that people will really enjoy about those. It is
But
going to
I
be
think
that.
people are going to find that they like James Gunn projects when they don't have
Yeah,
them.
no, I think that too. I do think
Yeah.
maybe people are just a little stale on it. I'm not, but
Hmm.
I do think some
No.
people are.
Hmm.
Um, but look,
I'm a
we
little
got
worried about Supergirl, and the reason I am is because that writer is writing everything that James Gunn isn't writing at the moment.
true, but I do
uh,
think yeah, we got Supergirl next year, we got Lanterns
mhm.
next year, we got Clayface next year. So we got some stuff that uh look, he's not going to write everything. And I get that
Yep.
he's written the first 3.
But how do
There
you
you
launch
go.
this?
But
How do you launch a studio and a universe if you're not the one doing it? Like if he did it, so just live in an alternate reality in which he dished things off to people. Well, how irresponsible is it that a successful director would pitch things off to people to build this universe? If you want to get it done, you got to do it yourself. Like it
right.
would just you. The people who don't like James Gunn would use that argument if he did it the other way.
Right.
So.
And so there's that. We do have projects if this wasn't for you that may be for you going
Mhm.
forward. Um
I'm a
I
little
think he
sick of the
was
kid-friendly complaints. I'm over that complaint.
what?
That Peacemaker wasn't kid-friendly and following up
Oh yeah,
Superman.
look,
I could not be more over that complaint if I tried.
I do have like genuine concerns about are there enough child friendly ones, because so far it's just Superman, right? Creature Commandos
Right.
wasn't, Peacemaker's not.
No.
Supergirl will be from what we think,
Right.
but Lanterns and Clayface is not, right? So there is a little
Right.
bit of concern I have there, but nobody should have went into this expecting this to
Right.
be child friendly.
I don't understand how a crypto show a crypto cartoon like a new one isn't like in development or something. We could
Right,
get
right.
we could get like I think animation would be a really good way to appease that. Um, but James Gunn just do another thing like Creature Commandos. It's like, well, sorry, kids.
Yeah, yeah. But speaking of that real quick before we wrap up, Creature Commandos
Mhm.
season 2, James Gunn said it's in the works. It will kind of tie into Salvation. He said in that comic run, supposedly the Suicide Squad are ones that are capturing metahumans and putting them in prison. Could the Creature Commandos be filling that role instead?
So the creature commandos are putting people in there, and then maybe they say, "Screw this, we don't want to do this," and revolts.
Could be, yeah.
Um, Interesting. Or maybe they're just like, "Yeah, we have a job and we're not in jail. This is great."
Could be that too, right?
Uh,
So that was a quick theory I meant to mention earlier that I saw somebody share online. But yeah, I mean, overall, the state of the DCU, I think, is in pretty good hands right now. When you look at the critical reception, when you look at most positive receptions from people that have watched it, I'm very excited to see what's coming forward here. The I think he was in between a little bit of a rock and a hard place because I saw people complaining that, oh, if Peacemaker actually does set up Man of Tomorrow, then it is required homework. And then when it didn't set it up enough for people in the
mhm.
finale, they were like, I thought this was supposed to be massively important. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways. So
Yeah.
I do think, of course, as James Gunn said in an interview after this, anything that's needed to know in Man of Tomorrow will be said in Man of Tomorrow. So I would assume they just bring up about Lex working through the Secretary of Defense and setting up a prison if Salvation shows up in Man of Tomorrow. Or his relationship with the with the Department of with the Secretary of Defense will be mentioned, and his relationship with Argus will be mentioned, and I'm sure Rick Flag will show up in Man of Tomorrow as well. So I do think those threads will happen, and I think
Yeah.
you would also, just from being able to see what was in Superman and that Lex had a prison in a universe like this, you can see how the USA would make that same jump too in the sequel. So I think even if you watch them back to back and skip Peacemaker, it will make thematic sense on why we went from one prison now to another one, but this one run by the US instead of Luthor Corps. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's about it. At Soups and Sabers on all of our social media, you may have seen on the Elseworlds feed that I still put all of our DC episodes on there. And I also put the first episode of Enter Flash Time, where I welcomed Lance Laster on from Always Hold On to Arrow. We talked Barry Allen's first appearance in the Arrowverse. And I think this show is going to be every other week for now. And episode 2 in a couple weeks here is going to feature the man himself right here, Chris. And we're going to talk episode 9 of season 2, Barry's second appearance from
Yeah.
the Arrowverse. So that episode 3, Ghosts, will be dropping over on Enter Flash Time. You can also follow it on the Soups and Sabers Elseworlds feed, which has all of our DC content over there. So
You'll hear me at least twice in season 1.
yes, at least. But that is everything for now. Thank you all for watching and listening along with us, and we'll catch you next time on Soups and Sabers.